Well, hello. I
Well,
figured I'd be
hello.
dramatic. I figured I'd be dramatic because of the movie we're reviewing or talking about. I don't know what I should say.
It
Anyway,
fits.
what is up? Hey, it's Press Play again. It's me, Bailey, as always, with also joining me as always, Matthew Austin. We're missing a little Omar Zaki. He didn't have time to watch the movie yet because he's got a beautiful little baby and a beautiful little wife. So they're gonna watch it together. So we're gonna talk about it anyway, and then we'll figure out what he wants to say after. Y'all won't hear it. We'll just hear it. But anyway, we're here to discuss the movie Cruella. Cruella. I always
I can.
struggle saying the name.
Me too. I can't say it. I'm gonna
The
be
funny thing is,
honest.
I always say
Cruella.
it right by myself, but then the second I say it to someone, I'm like Cruella.
It's like little word vomit.
um, but we're here to discuss the new Cruella. Not that there's an old Cruella. It's just like 101 Dalmatians, but you get what I'm saying. So
There is an old
we're here to.
Cruella though, isn't it? Or I guess it's not about
It's
her.
still called 101 Dalmatians. No, it's about her.
Mm,
You're talking about the one with Glenn Close?
Probably. I got on to watch 101 Dalmatians the day before we saw it, and I typed that in Disney Plus, and there was
Yeah,
like
and it
eight
showed hers.
movies.
Yeah. No,
And I
yeah,
was like,
that's
I
the
don't know.
one. The one with Glenn Close is like about a lot about Cruella, but it's still called 101 Dalmatians. So, but we're here to talk the 2021 Cruella, which has Emma Stone and Emma Thompson, the Emma duo, the Shining Emma stars.
There you
I
go.
started to leave out every other Emma that's in the world that acts, but whatever. They were fantastic. So we're here to talk about this movie. And let me tell you, I am so excited to talk about this. But before we talk about this, two things. I didn't realize until I looked up the IMDb. I was like, oh, Emma Thompson's in this movie. I love her. She's the mom in Parent Trap. She's great. She's awesome. I look at her for long enough. I'm like, I don't think that's the mom from Parent Trap. And then I looked it up, and lo and behold, it's not. Emma Thompson is not the mom in The Parent Trap. Um, so that's really awkward because this whole time I was like telling
You
people, I'm
just
like, oh yeah, Emma Thompson, I love her. She's like the best in Parent Trap.
Yeah, no,
She
that's a different
she
lady.
marries Dennis Quaid. It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, no, completely different British woman. So
Yeah, they
that's
don't.
my
I'm
bad.
trying to. For a second, I couldn't picture her, and then I was like, "Wait, no."
They
But
only
they
look
don't.
like slightly similar too.
Yeah,
Like
I
they're not
don't.
even that similar looking. I know. It's sad. Anyway, so yeah. That was ridiculous of me and I should know better than that. But anyway, we're Press Play again and we're here to tell you that you can listen to us on most things. And that is on Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Apple Podcasts. And you should leave us 5 stars and review us or tell us anything because it really helps us out in the long run. And I guess we need a lot of help probably. So
Yeah,
just like leave us 5 stars.
we need extra
And if
help.
you exactly. And if you want to follow us on anything, you can only on Twitter and Instagram, not Facebook, but Twitter on @againpress and Instagram @pressplay again. And we post fun things. It's been a real blast in the glass on social media. It's just fun because we're idiots. So that's great. Find us on there. And then on Monday mornings, we always post our Bad Batch follow-up episode discussion review thing. That'll be every Monday. And then new movies, when they come out, we try and post them as quick as possible. That's all I have for you on that. Maybe we'll have a better schedule probably once I move and don't live far away from everyone again. That'll be great. So, but until then, this is what we're doing.
It makes it tricky, but we have Loki coming out, so
Oh, we have Loki coming out, which that will be on Thursdays. We're posting that quick for you guys. So Thursday
as soon as it
mornings,
comes
you're
out.
gonna get y'all are gonna get the Loki review freaking quick as what's quick? A cheetah? I guess. I don't
The
know.
Flash.
That works. Oh yeah, Flash. That's a good one.
Quick
I
as
forgot
the
to set
Flash.
my. All right, there we go. So Matthew, I'm here to ask, what did you think of this movie?
I really like this movie. I had low expectations, or maybe not even low. Low is not the right word, but I don't have a strong
Like no
connection.
expectation?
Yeah, no expectations. Thank you. It's much better.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't really have a connection to the Dalmatians. You know what I mean? Like
Dalmatians.
I used to collect them in Kingdom Hearts, but that was about it. So yeah, I even thought that I had seen 101 Dalmatians as a kid. I was like, surely I have. And then when I started watching it the other night, I was like, I've never seen this. I think I've seen 102 Dalmatians. But I hadn't.
That is a thing.
Yeah, I think that's what I had seen because I was like, I've never seen this. It was really good though. I really liked it. But yeah, anyway, this movie was awesome. I didn't expect it to be so bombastic. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a good word to describe this movie.
Look
Very
at
bombastic.
you.
It was wild. I feel like if you try to make too much sense of it, there are things that don't make sense, but the ride was fun. Like just being there, it was really funny. And all of the costumes were super cool. Like there was like scene after scene, there was so much going on the screen visually that it was really cool, really fun to watch. Kind of like turn your brain off and just enjoy it. And yeah, I think when you stack this up against the live action Disney movies, this has to be approaching the top because I don't know, it'd be hard. I'd be hard pressed to think that this does anything like detrimental to the original movie or movies, 101 Dalmatian movies. But like it just, to me, this felt like a really cool version of this character. It was really fun. So I liked it.
Good. I'm glad you did, because I was hoping you and Omar would like this movie, because and Matt probably knows because he was sitting next to me when we were watching it, but like I adored this movie. It completely hit like it did the same thing as in the original 101 Dalmatians, where 101 Dalmatians, which I know you've watched recently, very much has a specific vibe and tone. Like even though it isn't always about fashion, it like tries to have like a sophisticated fashion spin on like the time they're in. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like I loved that with that. Like the opening credits and everything. I always used to adore that when I was a kid. And then we come to this movie and it's just so tone centered. Like they really hit it, and they really hit it well. Like I felt completely lost in the world that they created. Like I didn't think even though everything that happened was ridiculous and outlandish, like I didn't feel like it was. I felt like it fit in this world.
It did, yeah.
I think they did really well with that. And the costumes, oh my God. If they do not win like best costume design for the Oscars, I will be livid.
She'll be front and center rioting.
That'll be just me by myself with my one little picket sign. But I will be, because they were gorgeous.
Which one? What was your favorite? What was your favorite?
The one where she stood on the car. When they lock the Baroness in her car and wrap it, and then she so disrespectfully just stands on top, and then like she throws her skirt over the door and like just barely blocks her face, where you can just see the Baroness's face.
I think that's...
Oh my God. I loved that scene. I loved that dress. I thought all of that was phenomenal.
I think that's the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen.
The most spit in your face disrespectful, and I fucking absorbed all that shit up. It was so good.
Especially because, like you said, there's just that little tiny cutout where you can see her face,
like just of her little sliver of her face.
Yeah, so you can see how she's reacting to it. Man, if somebody did that to me, I'd just be like, fuck, game over for me.
But it is also one of those things where, like, I agree. I think I told y'all, and I think I still kind of stand by it, I think this is my favorite of the live action Disney movies, because it's the one where we went and saw it at the theaters, but I'm like very tempted to just buy it on my Disney Plus, even though I know it will be free at some point. I like really want to watch it.
Good job, Disney.
Like, I do want to watch it.
You're about to get $30 out of her.
You really probably will. But I enjoyed this movie from halfway of the beginning to the end, which I will explain why that when we dive into talking about the movie.
All right, I'm curious.
But I just think there was so much about this that was way more creative, because I think they're trying to do that thing with the live action movies where they only they stay on script. They don't change much of what happens. Like maybe visually there's a couple of different things, or some songs are added, but other than that, they stick to the story.
Well,
and this is like,
they've tried everything, right? Like it's kind of crazy, but I feel like the live action movies have been so all over the place, and Disney's just trying to figure out what people want.
I guess I haven't seen like the Dumbo live action or the Mulan live action.
I think those are the two I haven't seen. Those are the two I haven't seen either, but I still know enough about like Mulan, and too, like, so there's no music in that one. And then then I think of Lion King, which was practically shot for shot, and I think we kind of liked Lion King, but a lot of people didn't like it as much.
It was enjoyable, but it was forgettable. So that's the problem.
Yeah, and then you have some of them like Cruella, and I think back to like Christopher Robin, right, where they're actual like kind of sequels or prequels and stuff like that, where they're telling a different story. So they've tried everything, and I'm with you. I think this is the best. I think this is where.
But that's the thing. Like the Christopher Robin movie was really good too, and it was really emotional. And I think it's like telling that recreating the exact same movie might not be the case. Like, and I could be wrong. Somebody could come out and do it. I liked the Beauty and the Beast live action. I thought it was good. I wouldn't
Oh,
say
I
it's
haven't seen that
phenomenal,
either.
but it's one of those things where like this being like nobody knew anything about Cruella Deville. Like you don't get any backstory with her in the main like 101 Dalmatians. Like you just know she's freaking crazy and trying to skin dogs alive.
Yeah, I
And
was very going into this movie. I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't know what to expect because I'm like, what are they gonna
oh,
do?
me
How are they
either.
gonna
That's why.
tell a story about
That's why
this woman?
it's so funny that like just we can start even just talking about the movie, but like I had no idea how they were going to turn this person who's just trying to murder dogs into not even a hero, just someone you could sympathize with. Because how do you watch a movie of a lie of the main character and not be able to sympathize with them? And I didn't know what they were going to do. It was kind of wild that they chose to do this, but they tried to make the dogs seem evil. And I'm just like, that is not what I was expecting at all in this. Like, I was not expecting these killer Dalmatians to be in this world
Yeah,
and then attack and kill her mom. Like
yeah, right off the
that was a
bat.
that was a strong choice for these people to go with. Like I was shocked that that is what they went with, but I at the end of the movie you appreciate it and you understand why.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in the beginning I wasn't sure how I felt.
At the beginning, I was like, "Oh, interesting. This is what we're doing. I guess this makes sense." Also, the dogs, and we talked a little about this when we left the movie, but it was like, man, that is like the only thing that kind of took me a little out of it because they were CGI, and it's
Yeah,
so
the
much of the rest
CGI
of the movie was
dogs.
all just like costumes and stuff. But yeah, the CGI dogs looked a little bit weird, but very ferocious, like you said. They spared no expense making these things look evil.
Well, and it's an interesting choice with all of it, but I kind of understand why. Like they had all the dogs do so much. Like even the dogs that were like with her and her crew that were kind of helping them steal stuff. Like you couldn't train dogs to do that even if you wanted to for a
Yeah,
movie. So and also it would probably put those dogs in dangerous situations. So it
charging
made
at a lady
sense.
on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, or like or like there was like that scene where the one dog, I can't remember his name. It's the one with the eye
The little
patch.
pirate looking one.
Is it Winky or something like that?
Let's call him Winky.
Or Wink. I think his name was Winks or something, but he like was dressed as a raccoon or a rat and all the
The
stuff that
rat.
happened with him and that I'm like, no dog could have done any of this and like survived. So I was like,
But
it makes sense that it's CGI, but it's all funny and it all worked and you kind
wait,
of forgot
were
after a
those
while.
dogs CGI? I thought those were real
Yeah, and
dogs.
they weren't always CGI,
Oh,
but
okay,
for
okay.
those kind of parts they were.
There, yeah, that
Like,
makes sense.
for the parts where they're jumping around and, like, jumping off of, like, a balcony and stuff, like, those were all CGI, but they weren't always. I think there's very few shots where they were real dogs, but either way, that's besides the point. But, yeah, all the stuff in the beginning with, like, baby Cruella and, like, seeing how she was growing up and she was just different and you kind of learned that her hair was just, like, she was born that way, which I thought that was a cool add-in of her character. Um, because it was I feel like back in the day when they made 101 Dalmatians, it was supposed to just be like a artistic
Yeah,
thing.
let's just
Like
make this lady
the
look as
way the
wild as
art
we can.
yeah, like the way the art is in the movie. It's supposed to be artistic and like crazy, but they turned it into a real story, which I thought that was cool. But then seeing like how baby Corella is and then having her mom killed the way she was, I was like, okay, yeah, I don't know if I like what's happening. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, which I'm glad I did, but I was confused as to how they were going to turn. So I was like, what? So the dogs kill her mom and now she just like hates dogs and wants to kill them all? Like I didn't know what was going to happen, but luckily it didn't turn into that. So I think that was good. But I wasn't huge feeling the flashback, not the flashback, but like the past part where it's showing her as a kid.
Mm.
Like I liked it, but I think it went on for a really long time. So I don't know. I did think it was cool how they introduced Anita Darling. Anita, who's the mom in the original 101
Oh,
Dalmatians, or not
okay.
the mom, but like the mom of the puppies, I guess.
Right,
But
right, right.
um, they introduced her like as like her schoolmate, which I thought that was cool because they allude in 101 Dalmatians to them being like classmates at some point, and that's how her and Cruella knew each other.
Which makes way more sense seeing this because yeah, in the original movie, you're like how could she have been friends with her? Like, this lady is
Right,
so insane.
exactly.
You would have cut this woman off forever ago.
Exactly. It made no sense.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that like they kind of explained that, but did it in a pretty low key normal way. And
Yeah.
then it continued to be a part of the story, but in a low key normal way, which I enjoyed that. But
It went right over
once we
my
get
head. I didn't even realize that was her until the end of it, which I thought that was awesome.
the only reason I even knew is just because they said Anita Darling like a bunch, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. So because she kept calling her Anita Darling or whatever, which was cute. But once they finally got to Emma Thompson, or not Emma Thompson, Emma Stone, that's when I was like, okay, like this is because Emma Stone's she's such a great actress.
She was perfect
like,
for this. Like,
she
straight
she
up
really
perfect.
was. All the stuff with her and how she meets like Jasper and Horace, and that was another thing that was cool that they turned into a real story. Like Jasper and Horace weren't just some like lackeys that Cruella hired to kidnap these dogs. Like they made them a part of her whole life, which was a really cool way of adding that in too.
Yeah, and
So-
especially get their names mixed up. Was Jasper the more like calm
the
one?
taller,
The
yeah.
taller. Yeah, okay. You actually like feel for him a lot in this movie too. Like they give
Well,
him
yeah,
like a
'cause they
full on personality, right?
right. Like he's a cool dude and he's just like down on his like they're all orphans, but they're trying to just get by. But he seems like the most level-headed out of all of them. I mean, the people they got to play Horace and Jasper were perfect. And
Yeah.
the guy who played Horace, let me look at his name.
It was hilarious. That dude was
Paul
hilarious.
Walter Hauser. He
Yes.
was fantastic and so funny. Like his comedic beats hit perfectly for me. I thought they were really funny.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was like he was probably the funniest part of the movie.
He was. I don't know. I just thought it would hit really well. But yeah, I think that and like when they team up and they go do all the robbing and like she's just making the clothes for them, I thought all of that, like they just were doing really smart things with creating this story. And I didn't have, even though I liked the movie when I was younger, I didn't have any expectations for this movie either. Like I had just no clue what they were even going to do with it. Nor had I really seen any trailers a lot. So I don't know. I just felt like I didn't have any expectations, and I'm glad I didn't because now I've like completely exceeded anything I would have thought was going to happen with this movie.
That's always the best way to go into a movie like this, right? Like you don't really know what to expect, and I get it's different for everybody. I'm sure there's people out here that didn't really like this. If you're, I don't know, maybe if you're obsessed with 101 Dalmatians and the character, and maybe this isn't the way you wanted to see her done. Like I'm sure that exists out there too, but at least for us, like I think that's part of the reason why we react so positively to it. Is it's just when you go into something having no expectations and then they're just this creative, it's like, okay.
I mean, and all the extra characters they added in too, like that guy Artie that worked at that like costume shop or clothing store that she became friends with, and then ends up somehow being the person who's like on her team to like create all the looks she's going for.
Which was super cool.
It was a really cool way to add everything and like make it kind of flow really well and not just have it be random. Like, what are you supposed to believe Jasper and Horace can just sew all these costumes like this? Like, it would have made no sense. So, but all the stuff they did with Jasper and Horace being like, Jasper and Horace kind of being these people that had like this game plan. They had everything down to a T. Like, they could go do whatever they wanted and rob all these people and get away with it. And then she finally gets into becoming like a fashion designer or wants to be one, gets that job that's shitty, and then lucks out with the Baroness just like liking her crazy like window display, which is all very movie magic. Like the one day she did it is the one day the Baroness came, but like who cares?
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me at all because it's just like this is a fantastical world they're creating.
Yeah, I think that's stuff that just comes with the Disney territory, right? I mean, if you're gonna pick stuff like that apart, I don't know. That's stuff that at the door you kind of check your expectations. I wanted to throw in real quick to right basically where we're at, but before the Baroness comes, but when she's just in the store by herself at night drinking, Bailey turned to me in the movie and was like, "This is my dream." This.
How sad is that? He was like, your dream is to be in a store by yourself? And I was just like, no, just like being in a store, just having like a bottle of whiskey, walking around, just having all the clothes around you. You could do whatever you want. You could put the clothes on. You could make like the window displays. You could change everything. I was like, that is just such a cool, like, I would love to do that
What
one
would you
night.
do? Would you try everything on, or would you like focus really hard on like arranging everything?
I would try everything. So I would pick out an outfit first, put it on, and then change everything while I'm in the outfit. So you almost feel like a different person. Like you have this new persona.
There
You're
you
like,
go.
I'm this new person that's gonna design this department store perfectly. And then I do it, and then they come the next day and it's just absolutely dog shit. And then
They're like, we hate
I
this.
just never show my face again. And I was like, I was drunk. So there was
I
nothing
was
I
drunk.
could say.
I had fun.
But yeah, I thought all of that was really cute. It was a really
cute.
cute way to show her, because you're seeing her in like a, I don't know, you do pity her at this point. I mean, she lost her mom. She literally saw her mom get tackled over a cliff at
By a
some
bunch of, like,
fancy
demon dogs.
mansion by 3 demon dogs. Like, yeah, it's just, and she's just fine. Well, she's not fine, but it's just a very, like, way more dramatic than I thought.
Oh my god. I didn't know what just happened.
It's the podcast. I'm so sorry. My brother just scared the absolute crap out of me.
I didn't know if we're talking about all these dogs and like rat dogs. I was like, what is
Talking about
what
his
just
mom
popped into
dying
her
off
room?
of a cliff. Okay, I'm just gonna collect myself for a second. That really got me. Oh my god. That's my dog knocking me off a cliff. You know what I mean? No, I'm kidding. I know. Okay. Anyway, I'm glad she got the job with the Baroness.
Bailey's so on eggshells now. She's just like,
I have like goosebumps because I'm like, all right. I get scared really easily.
it scared me. Your reaction scared me. It really did.
I know. I probably screamed like right into the mic too. All the stuff with the Baroness though, where she is like the star student, was cool to see too. And then you knew something bad was going to happen because you see homeboy, the bald guy. I can't remember his name. Let me pull that up.
The
Mark
bald guy.
Strong. Oh wait, is that him? Mark Strong? Yeah, no, Mark Strong. His name's called John the Valet. I never would have guessed that.
It's a beautiful name, John the
His
Valet.
name's John the Valet. Okay, so John the Valet was there, and you saw he was the one that the mom talked to.
What is this man from that he looks so familiar to me?
He's the villain in Shazam.
Oh, he is.
He's in other stuff too. I just can't think of it right
1917,
now.
Kingsman, Zero Dark 30. I feel like there was something bigger that I knew him from, but that must be it. Yeah.
But yeah, but he's there, so you knew something bad was going to happen eventually with this woman, with the Baroness. Right?
To. And it boy did it.
Well, yeah, nobody would have ever like guessed. Well, you knew she probably killed the mom. Or that's where I was getting led to at least. Or he did. I don't know. Either way, I was just like, something bad's going to happen, but it's cool that she gets to be like the shining star for like 5 seconds in her life. And then she completely changes once she finds out that the Baroness killed. She also like was so cold-hearted. Emma Thompson, phenomenal as a evil person. Because I mean, totally believe that she just didn't care that she's killing all these people.
I was gonna say she's just as good as Emma Stone in this, honestly. Like they played
they were
two
both
totally different roles, but like holy shit, like I feel like she just does not break for a second. Like,
no, and she did fantastic with like letting you believe that she just didn't care that she killed her mom. Like when she's like
scary. Can you imagine being in that woman's presence? Like I would.
No.
I'd be terrified.
Not at all. I would cower and I'd be like, you know what? She probably deserved it. You're right. But I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that. But maybe. I don't know. She was making me scared. But after she like did the whole flip where she started being like, okay, I'm going to destroy this woman's life. All the stuff she was coming up with to like sabotage everything was so clever and so cool. When she created her Cruella persona, I mean, it was phenomenal.
It was.
Like all the outfits, all the ways she like. What was the one? Oh, it's when she was like going to a red carpet event and Cruella gets them to back up the dump truck, like the
Yeah,
garbage truck.
that was the one where I was
And
like,
then they
this
just
is
open it and
insane.
like garbage comes rolling out. And then she just stands up and it's
She,
like her in this
she is the
garbage dress.
garbage.
Like that was like so creative and cool. And then the one I was talking about where she like steps on and like gets on the car, like all of that is so phenomenal. I think sabotage in any movie, like a montage of sabotage, is such a fun thing to watch.
A
It
montage
is.
of sabotage.
Like it isn't it like you just like watching people who are evil get like the shit that's coming to them, you know?
Which
And so you got to see it over and over again.
you definitely did. And speaking of the amount of music in this movie, like musical
Oh, it's
montages,
nonstop.
it's like the entire movie. It's
It's
like,
the entire movie.
but in a great way, because this movie just really is it's just like I don't know, what do you call it? Just extravagant scene after extravagant scene. So when you're having those moments in between, like how do we get to the next place? What better way than just play some fucking music and just show us shit? You know,
And
it's
all the
great.
music was like fit really well.
It did.
And I think it was one of those things where there was so much music that when it got quiet and there wasn't any, it felt like it was a really important part.
Yeah,
Like
you're like,
whenever it
okay,
was silent and they were just talking, I was like, what
what are they gonna say?
what's going to happen? Like I got really nervous. So I feel like that kind of helped in this movie. I also wanted to bring up because this was the thing that made me laugh the hardest, which it shouldn't have been, but I couldn't help it, was when her and Cruella go to get lunch or something to
To celebrate
celebrate.
that she like came out with the fantastic design or whatever for the
Yeah, it was her last design,
yeah.
which was Emma Stone's or Cruella's or what is Cruella's actual? Estella. I was like, is it
Isabella?
Arella? It's
Estella?
Estella. Um, it was when the waiter comes and is like trying to open the champagne and he's like frantically like trying to get it open because like obviously they're being impatient and then she just like takes it from him. She goes, just give it. And she just pops it and it like hits him directly in the face like immediately. And it's such a cheap laugh, but it worked so well. And I like couldn't I did like the snort laugh, which
Oh,
if
she
people
was
know me,
done.
they know that's like when I'm laughing hard. But it's just because it all happened so quick that I was just like, this is really funny. Like, I don't know. It's just so many little parts like that in this movie hit really well for me, which it's just really charming and fun and creepy at the same time, which
It's
is kind
everything.
of what I live for.
Also,
So,
Wikipedia describes this movie as like Cruella is a 2021 American crime comedy film.
yeah, I
Is that
saw
wild?
that. Isn't that crazy?
That's kind of cool. I like it.
I think that's cool too. I
Yeah.
actually like that a lot. Um, but yeah, after all that happened, and then we get the infamous. Omar would kill me if you heard me say that. Not
I'd be like,
infamous.
dude.
I always misuse that word. But we get that scene where she starts sewing the beads. Like she gets those beads delivered for the dress, for the main event dress. And you get the beads and you're like, something's obviously wrong with them because Horace delivered them. So what? I don't know.
What did
I
they
just
have
know
up their
I kept
sleeve?
thinking, I'm like, they're all tiny little bombs. And whenever the
Movie's gonna
dress
get really
gets put
dark.
on, someone just completely explodes. But I'm like, I don't think Disney would do that. So I don't know what's actually going to happen. But that's all I could think of the whole time. Never in a million years would I have guessed that she sewed a bunch of little moth eggs onto this dress. Like, that is genius. It's genius because it ruins everything. Not just like the one dress, it ruins literally all of them. And it gets it to where everybody has to go outside and runs out. And then she has this phenomenal bomb ass concert just like across the street with her fashion
That's
show.
that is the moment where I was like, this movie's legitimately insane. Like
It's insane.
legitimately insane because you're right, all that's going on and then this just rock concert starts across the street in like the
Across
dark
the
of
street.
night. What's their faces, the two
Jasper's walking out doing a guitar solo,
Yeah.
and like lo and behold, it's a sad part too because that's when like her persona is just completely taking over. So she's treating her two boys just like absolute garbage,
Mhm.
and it's sad because you kind of get like a little twinge of romance between Jasper and Cruella, or he like clearly cares about her kind of
Yeah.
thing. So that like makes you sad when he's like walking out and he's like depressingly playing this awesome guitar solo. but it gets overshadowed with how cool the whole thing is, so you kind of just forget about it.
I agree. I think the reason why it works too is just because if you're seeing this movie and you saw the original 101 Dalmatians, it's like all of it is so comical anyway that it's like none of the characters feel that, at least to me, everything just feels slightly crazy enough to where you don't question people's like reasons for doing things. Right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's probably a mix of that and just things are happening so fast and constantly in this movie you don't really have time to. But yeah, because I mean, I'm feeling bad for them too, but at the same time, but then they're also just continuing on and doing it. And you never really question it because you're just like, I've seen where these people end up, and they seem crazy later on too, just like her. So I don't know. It's just a fun, wild time.
Yeah, this movie is a fun, wild time. That's probably the best way to describe it. But after all the stuff that happens with this concert rock, rock show, you get, doesn't she get like kidnapped right after this? Or no, she goes home
She walks in and they're tied
and
up.
everybody's like tied up and they're like gonna kill her, and then they literally try to kill
Actually, a
her.
very dark scene. I was like, this is
Like the Baroness
intense.
is literally just like, no, I've like straight up killed like a ton of people.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kill you too.
So like,
And
and you're dead, and
Yeah.
they're gonna take the blame for your murder. And I'm like, damn, this girl's got it. Like, she clearly has done it enough to where she has it planned out perfectly.
and the
Which is
apartment's
kind
on
of insane.
fire, and some shadowy man is just walking towards her, and you're like, this is it. She's seeing God.
At the
She's done.
same time, I was thinking like she has it all planned out perfectly. Yet they literally say the famous Cruella, who has single-handedly destroyed the Baroness's careers, on the same night that the Baroness's show got canceled, her apartment just goes up in flames. Like, oh,
I wonder
what a
how she
coinky
died.
dink.
You know, I
So,
will
all
also
of-
say, up until this point, because obviously you can't kill somebody, but I was going to say the Baroness had handled everything going on surprisingly well until she...
Dude, I was thinking the same thing. Like, as her career is getting destroyed, she's just like, oh,
She's like, okay.
another show that I just don't get to have anymore. And it's just like, okay, like, shouldn't you be like screaming and crying your eyes out
she's
because
like,
your
oh, this
career
Cruella
is
person is
over?
getting very annoying. That's it.
Annoying. I think it's funny too, though, just because it shows that she like respects Cruella, and I like that aspect of it too. Which then you find out that it's literally because it's her daughter. She doesn't know it's her daughter,
Right.
But like they have the same kind of mindset with creativity, clearly. So, well, not even because I've never seen the Baroness actually design a piece of clothing in this.
Yeah, you really,
Whole
by the time you
movie?
get to the end of it, you're like, wow, was she just like stepping on everybody to get to where she's at? And she didn't really do anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know much about like the inside of the fashion world, but I would assume it's similar
A lot of stuff
to
like that.
for some places. I don't know, but either way, like obviously she finds out that the Baroness is her mom from John the valet. Still can't get over the fact that that's his name.
I love
but
it.
She finds out from him, and all of a sudden now he's on her team and like wants to help her out. And I'm just confused because I'm just wondering if he knew all along that was the daughter. Why'd he wait until she was literally almost murdered to help her?
Maybe he thought it wasn't going to get that far. Maybe he thought she was just going to win.
But clearly he knew that the Baroness was insane and like
Yeah.
she needed to be stopped, and also killed her mom
And way back when
So-
ordered him to kill her.
to kill a baby.
Yeah,
so I
so-
just am confused why he worked continuously for her and then waited until now to make
You know what,
any
Bailey?
move.
We don't question John the valet. We just
You're
do as
He's
he
lived
says.
a hard working life, and if you have to go through your whole life being called John the valet, then I mean,
Oh, then I
hats off
envy
to
you.
you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
love that.
I just feel like it was interesting that he waited, but regardless, I'm glad he teamed up with them because their whole plan after that really
Flawless.
cool. That part where first of all, I wasn't expecting when they were like trying to find the sizes for all the guests that were going to this party that she was having. I was confused. I was like, oh, so I guess she's just going to design outfits for all of them and it's going to say something. I was not expecting it to just literally be all wigs of her hair. And I was
That-
like, that's dope.
That was so cool. That was like That to me, and I know there were comparisons to like the Joker way before this came out, kind of as a joke, but honestly, that seemed like some kind of crazy Joker ass shit. That like
It
just like
all of the
everybody
stuff
showing
she
up
was
with the
doing
makeup on,
was
like it's same thing of just like everybody showing up with like the wigs on. You know, it's
yeah.
super cool. I really thought the final act of this movie was like outstanding. Like that
I
whole
think they
entire just that whole set piece of everybody being there like that and just the tension of everything going on. I thought it was like this movie built up to this part extremely well, and it's
it did.
paying off in a great way.
And it was fun too because all the stuff that happened with Horace and the dog because he was acting like the exterminator.
I loved that.
All of the stuff that happened with that, even the part where like they're in the room and he's like, "You're on camera," and then he starts spraying the actual dog and making the dog pretend like it's dying. And then the guy on like with the security guy watching the cameras is just like, oh my god, like freaking out because he's seeing this giant rat thing being attacked. It was just
It was
all of that
incredible.
was really funny to me. And then you get, yeah, the tension part of it where she's like walking with that like pin in her hand. And I'm starting to panic because I'm just like, oh, she like is actually going to kill her. And this is going to be Corella's downfall. But it ends up not being her downfall, which is awesome. And I really appreciate that because
Thank God.
I didn't want her to be a murderer because she was doing so well in this movie as like kind of on the cusp of crazy but normal. So, or crazy but nice at least. So I didn't want her to go straight up like just murderous.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been a little just like, and I get it because maybe it would have made sense because based on where she ends up, but I don't know. I don't think
Yeah,
there's a
but
big group of people that are like, you know what, this doesn't connect well enough. You know, like I don't think
the
we.
plan was, I think the plan worked and was cool enough though. Like
Me too.
getting her to come out on the balcony and then clearly like the dogs weren't trained anymore to her because they were living with like Jasper, Horace, and Cruella for like, I don't even know how long. They just had these dogs trained there. But I think all the stuff that happened where they literally had everyone come outside so that they could witness for themselves, like her literally try to attempt to murder her, I think
So
was
rewarding.
it was really rewarding. And it also was like the Baroness being so smart throughout this whole movie. You're kind of like, did you really not hear like a single person
I
walk
know.
outside?
Like they weren't like tiptoeing. They definitely were like
But
opening
they
up
also
doors
weren't
and just
like
kind of.
talking. And I'm like, that also isn't normal.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't
You
know if you're
think
nosy
there's a.
and you want to hear a conversation. So like maybe they're all just like, what's she saying? And like kind of like trying to inch forward.
But in reality, you'd have like 90% of people doing that. But if there's a huge crowd outside, like everybody's listening, but you're going to have like the one guy that's just like, hey, Baroness, what are you doing over there?
Or like you have all the people in the back being like, what's she saying?
Yeah, I
Like
can't hear her.
but
So
it all worked out really well, I think,
it
to the
did.
point where like showing it's so like if you watch the movie the Sherlock movies, it's so like you think they die and then they cut to like
Gotcha.
what actually happens and she like has like the parachute and stuff.
There's another moment where
It's
I was just laughing out
all
loud with
fantastical.
insanity.
Yeah, like it's all just completely crazy, but it works in this movie. They stuck with the crazy aspect just enough to where it all works in really well somehow, which you would never think it would, but it does. Like
That it
the
does.
fact that she gets pushed off a cliff and then floats down to a ship waiting at the bottom and then somehow gets back up the cliff in time to see the Baroness getting arrested.
It's like, what
The
more could you want?
timing,
How could you make this
timing
character
is
any cooler?
impeccable.
You probably couldn't. So,
Um, so we go all through that, and then we get to the point where clearly she has to go save Horace and Jasper because they're arrested. Because wait, why did they get
no.
arrested again? Do you remember?
We
Oh, she
skipped
already
over that,
saved
but that
them.
was before. Yeah.
I skipped. You're right. Either way, when she saved Horace and Jasper, I'm sorry, everyone. I skipped over that. I get really excited when we talk about the final act. All that was really cool though too, because she had her come to Jesus moment where she was like, "I'm being a bitch and I need to stop. So I'm gonna be nice to the people who I care about." And then they go. She literally just like runs into the police building, and that in itself was kind of crazy because I guess they fix all of the stuff she did by killing Estella, because technically, I guess Estella was the one that did that. So
Right.
they kill off Estella and just have Cruella left, and so I guess all the charges are dropped. Right?
Magic. That's why If you haven't been told before, have 2 names. If you do anything wrong, you have an out.
Hey, double jeopardy. That's what I hear.
Yep, they can't do it.
I
They're
don't
not
know.
allowed.
I remember watching that movie, but all that stuff that happened with that, and then I was telling Matt. So my theory with all of this is the mom being evil and the dad being good is why her hair is black and white. Which I don't know if that's what the director was planning on doing, but I feel like that's what happened, and I feel like that's why.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Like
got to
sugar
be
and
some
spice
type of
kind of thing.
symbolism.
Yeah, like cool
there's no way.
symbolism. I think that's really good. But I do love too what they did with Roger and Anita. Like how Roger was just like the bumbling, goofy attorney for the Baroness. That actor, he's the main guy in What We Do in the Shadows, the series, and he is one of the funniest actors I think I've ever watched. So seeing him play Roger, who is the attorney, like what they did with those characters, I think was really cool. And I think they were like phenomenal. And Roger being as goofy as he was worked so well. And then Anita being like the journalist photographer who's kind of like helping Cruella become who she is was a really cool take on that too.
Yeah, I feel like
And
with
then they show
them changing the characters a little bit, but like they keep the personality intact enough to where you're like, okay, this is them. This is the modern version of them.
Exactly. They changed it like just enough. And I think that was perfect. And then when they get to at the end where she like delivers puppies to them after like everything's done, she gets the deed to the house. Like she is fine. And then they send the puppies, which I can't even remember the puppies' names.
Topanga.
Now that I'm thinking about it. It's Pongo and Panga. It's Pongo, and then I can't remember the girl dog's name. But either way, it was definitely the dog's names from 101 Dalmatians.
Pongo and Perdita.
Perdita Keys. I'm kidding. That's Perdido Keys.
The Florida Keys?
Yeah.
There you go.
So we get Pongo and Perdita delivered. It's just like they clearly were not setting it up for a Cruella 2, but clearly at this point they were. Because
now we know.
Yeah, it's confirmed now. But I'm glad that they are playing Roger and Anita because I think they're going to be really good as that, and I hope we see a lot of them in the next movie. If so,
I guess they will.
They're involved a lot.
Because in my head, I'm like, man, why are they doing this? Like, good job, Disney. You finally made one.
I don't think there
seems
should
to be loved,
a second one.
Right, but at least that's something. Like, I'd like to see them have a little more screen time, maybe explore that a little bit. But, that's a different conversation.
So coming at the end of this, I agree. I don't want a second one. I think this was perfect. Like this was a perfect origin story. We get what is going to happen next. You don't even want to see what's going to happen next because clearly she goes insane.
It's all downhill from here.
Evil. Yeah. So
at some point, this woman gets obsessed with skinning dogs. So we're going down that path.
Well, that's the thing. I guess what they're trying to allude to is that Cruella isn't going to be like it's a different universe with a different Cruella.
Yeah,
maybe.
And I think you're right. I think
because
we
Roger
know that
and Anita are very different.
Right.
Like,
so because we know that, then I guess there's hope that Cruella is a slightly different version of herself, and I don't know, those events happen differently. So
yeah, no, I agree.
It's a whole reset on the universe.
I hope it is because if we're getting a second one, I don't want it to just end with Emma Stone like having that insane like bleached look in her eyes, like someone just literally just dumped a whole thing of bleach on her and she's just crazy now. I just don't want that to be what happens.
We don't want that for you, Emma Stone.
I do want to say though before we finish that scene when she goes back to the fountain at the very end and she has like that talk with her mom. That scene, Emma Stone is so good.
She is like
so good,
and that's moments like that elevated this where I'm like, this doesn't. You could almost forget that you're watching just a live action Disney movie. In moments like that because it really just is. Emma Stone brings 100 to everything she's doing, and just as of late, she's one of those actresses that she seems like she's taking roles that she wants to really pour everything into, and I don't know. Somebody else could have done this very differently and not as good. You know what I'm saying? Like this, I think she is so much of the reason why this movie is as good as it is. And that's just commitment. That is 100% commitment. I love it.
She's so good. That one little tear that ran down her little cheek.
Don't you wish you could do that?
God, it hit me. I was just like, oh, her mom. But
I
yeah,
can't do
I
it.
thought, were you trying to do it?
I
Oh my
was.
God. Okay, but anyway, to wrap this up, the movie ends with Roger singing the Cruella DeVille song, and that's all you ever freaking need.
Cruella
All right,
DeVille, Cruella DeVille.
that's
She's
it.
evil and I am too.
That's
The
yeah.
hills.
That's about as right as I expected you to get the song.
It was stuck in my head the morning after I watched it, but
It
it's gone
should be.
now.
It's
Too
just
much
so
going on
great.
in this
It's
little
so
head.
catchy. Either way, I adored this movie. I'm
Me
glad they
too.
made it. I guess we'll see what happens with the second one though.
But to fucking kick it out, they're just like, did a good job. Just wait.
Oh man, but I had fun with this movie. I had
I
fun
did too.
discussing it with you, little Matthew.
I did too. Like I said, I didn't watch 101 Dalmatians apparently until 3 days ago. So, I didn't think I was gonna have a lot to bring to this conversation, but you know what?
Hey, you held your own. You had a lot. You had a lot of insight. I appreciated it. But yeah, guys. Until next time, if she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will.